Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to today's episode of How You're Getting Screwed. I'm your host, Corgi Lumpur, and today we'll be talking about the KLPJ wedding fair and why it's a complete waste of time for almost everybody. We'll be going over the details of how this fair is going to go without you even having to waste your time to physically attend the event. I saw this ad for the wedding fair coming up in JB this weekend. I was reminded to make this video since I was at the KLPJ wedding fair in KL back in January 2024. So let's dive right into why it's a waste of time. So the first thing that we're going to talk about over here is it's not a waste of time for those people who have already made their minds up on how their wedding is going to go. And what that means is that you have your wedding event confirmed. You know whether you want to have a garden wedding or a dinner and or both, right? So you've probably, hopefully scouted the venue to make sure that it's what you want, and you have the number of guests confirmed. You know how many tables to book with the hotel, and you've hopefully also done a comparison to make sure that this is absolutely the choice that you want to make, right? So this wedding fair is for you because you can just walk in, book, and put down money to get your hotel dinner reserved and just walk away. The hotels at the fair do give a slight discount. It's more or less 10% based on what I've seen, and some free stuff. You might even get a chance at that lucky draw if you spend enough money. I'm not sure what the details are, if they're even going to have a lucky draw at tomorrow's event. That's what you get for attending the event. It's a complete waste of time for everyone else. If you're looking for information, actually useful information and or pricing about hotels, your restaurants, photo studios, costume vendors, you're probably going to get that information elsewhere. You're not going to get good information from there, or information that you're not going to find outside of the wedding fair. Most hotels have their information about their various wedding packages and or pricing on their website. If they do not have that information, you can always reach out to the hotel. You can call them up, ask for the event manager, and that person is going to email you a whole bunch of brochures, pricing, and stuff like that. That's the exact same as you'll get at this wedding fair. And also good luck if you're looking for information from photo studios and costume vendors, because that information is hard to come by on the internet, and you're also gonna not get an easy time getting that information out from those really sketchy, pushy salespeople who are just gonna try to sell you those packages with you uninformed using their pressure tactics, right? So if you're looking to browse, same thing, right? If you haven't decided on a wedding, how you're gonna do your wedding, you're freshly engaged, this is not the place to get your information. Just go look online, go do your research, and you might have to do some digging, but you'll be able to get all the information on the internet in a video like this one without having a whole bunch of people try to get your personal information and throw a bunch of sales pitches at you and spam you on your phone and your email address after the event. So this is what the event looks like for anyone who is kind of missing out on the physical vibe. This was held in the KL Convention Center back in January 2024. It's not that big. KL Convention Center has 5 different halls. This was in one of them, and it's that hall with the upper half story. Show you the floor plan in just a bit, and it's not a big event at all. You can see right here, that's pretty much it. That brings me also to the point where you can't see these hotels or restaurants in person. You can't see the full outfit range of these photo studios, so it's not entirely useful to go to the event, because you're still going to have to go to these businesses on their physical premise in order to see what the hotel ballroom looks like or what the different outfit options are like. You're still going to have to go to these places, so why waste your time? The other thing is that they have about 25-30 venues or so. Most of them are hotels, some of them are restaurants. If you want to go discover places beyond that, you're going to have to do an online search anyway. So here's the floor plan of the KLPJ wedding fair back in January 2024. You can see right here, over here at the top, there's a bunch of costume places. There is a place that does men's suits. There is an actual day photo shoot studio, and there's a bunch of stuff going on up here. Over here in the red boxes, we have 9 photo studios. It's not actually 9, because if you look closely, My Dream Wedding actually shows up twice under booth 5 and 10. And you also get Precious Wedding Emporium appearing twice over here in booths 2 and 7. So seven photo studios in total. They're not going to give you much information. We have something like 20 or 25 different hotels over here. You can see that they're mostly mainstream hotels occupying all the different booths. I'll talk about them right now, but before we go into that, there is a mandatory registration for everyone at the KLPJ wedding fair, and that's the first and most obnoxious part. That was the slap in the face for me. You're going to have to give them your full name, phone number, email address, and consent to them processing your data for purposes of receiving information. That means that they are absolutely entitled to spam the shit out of you on your phone or your email address. We're going to bring up the form right here. This is the actual form that they made people fill out at this KLPJ wedding fair in January 2024. You can see right here that your name per your IC is mandatory. Your mobile phone number is mandatory, and an SMS will be sent to you for verification, right? So you can't physically enter the event hall without them looking at your phone and asking for this one-time pin. It's crazy. And they make you send in your email address as well, consent to submitting this form. It's total bullshit because you're there just to get information. You might not even be getting married. I was there with a bunch of people who were not getting married but just happened to be with me at the time, and they were made to fill out this form as well. It's absolutely ridiculous. We told them those people are not getting married. They still wanted them to fill out the forms because, hey, personal information. That's what Malaysians love. Collecting your personal phone number, your email address, so they can use it at any time and absolutely totally not send it to anyone else or sell it to anyone who might text you about great loans, great deals, and tech support. Right? So going back to the wedding fair vendors, we're going to talk about the hotels, right? Hotels were generally not really pushy. Those guys don't really have that much incentive as those photo shoot studios to push their packages onto you. Most of them did give out brochures. It's at the Westin, which insisted on us scanning like a QR code just to be able to talk us through for 20 minutes while we stare at this tiny phone, right? That's how professional and respectful they are, despite wanting to charge you somewhere from 5 to 6 figures for your wedding dinner. They can't even provide a physical brochure, which the other hotels had provided, right, to their credit. The guy basically said, you have to scan this QR code before I can start talking to you about the packages that we offer, and we just told him to fuck off. And the average pricing of each table was about 3,000 to 5,000 ringgit per table for a table of 10 for wedding dinners. Those hotels were mostly in KL. There's one in Langkawi whose brochure I've seen to have misplaced. I'll go through those brochures really quick over here. We have the Four Seasons Hotel, which charges anywhere from 468 ringgit plus per pax to 528 plus per pax. We have the Grand Hyatt, which charges 477 for one of their packages and 455 net per person for the other package. We have the Fairy Tale wedding package from the Hilton KL, which charges 388 plus per person. Not sure what the minimum number of tables is, as we're going really fast over here. We're going to go to the next one. You can probably find all this information online. The Pavilion KL, they're charging 3088 per table, minimum 20 tables to 30 tables. That's a net price. We have the Sheraton Hotel Petaling Jaya, and they are charging something like 2688 plus per table of 10 persons. They have a couple other packages here. The other one charges 2988 plus per table of 10 persons. We have the Lee Meridian Hotel, which has their pricing on a separate piece of paper, which costs about 3188 net for a table of 10 for the Eternity wedding package. So there's a whole bunch of information here provided by the hotels. We have the Mandarin Oriental KL, which provides a bliss wedding package for a normal price of 428 plus per person. But if you sign up at the KLPJ wedding fair, you get it at 388 plus per person at the January event. And we have the Equatorial Hotel, which provides multicultural packages for Malay, Chinese, Indian, Western weddings, and that ranges from 3299 plus per table of 10 persons to 4699 plus per table of 10 persons. So that's pretty much it for the pricing of those various. Oh, we have one more here. We have the Renaissance Hotel, which has a really tiny set of prices over here. It's 368 plus per person all the way to 428 plus per person. And there's the Grand Hyatt again, which provides a bunch of free stuff. If you don't delay, sign up today at the wedding fair only. And that's pretty much it for the pricing. So again, you get a bunch of free stuff and or a small discount over normal price if you decide to sign at the wedding fair. But again, you're subject to a whole bunch of high pressure sales tactics. If you're in that situation, you better know that that's the place that you want to go for, and that you're not just simply shopping around and still doing your comparisons, because that's of no benefit to you and all the benefit to those businesses trying to charge you money. The typical wedding ballrooms that I found for those hotels at the KLPJ wedding fair were suitable for something like 250 to 500 or more people, which means that they're going to give you the big proper ballroom if you have that number of guests. If you're holding a smaller wedding, which I found to be about 200 to 300 people or fewer, some of those hotels are not even going to allow you to book with them. Some of those are going to give you a half-baked wedding ballroom, which is a full-size ballroom cut in half. So you might have someone else holding their wedding at the same time that you're holding their wedding, which will be absolute fun if you're trying to play anything on the PA system, whether it's a speech, music, etc. Or they might even give you a conference room Usually those are the ones that you go for during your business events, and that's going to be your wedding ballroom if your wedding is a much smaller size one compared to 250 to 500 people or so. On to restaurants. There were actually a couple of restaurants that displayed their booths at the KLPJ Wedding Fair when I was there in January 2024. There was one that I visited, which was the Marco Polo. Their pricing was between 1,800 to 1,400 ringgit or so as of January. They did give a bunch of free stuff as well if you signed up at that wedding fair itself. So on to the part about photo studios. This is probably the worst part of the whole wedding experience, in my opinion. It's worse than shopping for a used car because you're dealing with people who are even more sleazy and sketchy than a used car salesman. So the first thing is that they're not going to display anything that you can see from the outside. You're going to actually have to go into the booth and talk with an actual person who will sit you down for something like 30 to 60 minutes. The first thing that they're going to do is show you a bunch of photos and albums of all these lovely couples who may or may not be professional models who were just hired to take those photos. You're going to have to ask them for actual couple photos, and you're going to have to trust these pleasant people that those are actual photos of couples and not professionally hired models. They're going to sit you down for this whole 15-20 minutes, make you look at all these different options and all these different results, and then they're going to show you a piece of paper after that. Those pieces of paper are going to contain those photo packages, what they come with, all those specifications, pricing information, but you're not going to be able to keep any of the information. You can't take a photo of those different packages. You can't have a copy of that piece of paper. They're not going to let you keep it because they're that honest. They're that helpful. They want to make it so easy for you to be able to make a comparison that you just can't have all that information. It's like walking into a car dealership where the car salesman shows you the car. They open the door for you. They let you get in, see the car. But at the end of the day, you ask for a brochure and they refuse to give you a brochure with anything more than a few pictures of the car, which is precisely what all these people did. They gave a bunch of brochures, but they don't contain any useful information. Most of those brochures contain just photos of all these different couples and the results. But as you can see, none of them talk about the packages. They simply just won't give that information away. These are all the brochures that are collected from the KLPJ Wedding Fair back in January 2024 again. They're going to make you work for it. They're not going to disclose the pricing, but I'm going to do that for you. Based on what I've seen so far, most of the pricing is between 4,000 to 7,000 ringgit. And this is a bigger topic that needs to be covered separately because the pre-wedding photo shoot operation is such a scummy one that it deserves its own video. There's too much content over there for me to talk about in this video. Hopefully I'll do it in the next one. But on to the other stuff. These are things like flowers and costumes. So there was only one flower company at the KLPJ Wedding Fair back in January. That was the company that kind of decorated the reception of the fair. To me, it wasn't that impressive at all. The rep was somewhat pushy. Didn't really get pricing information out of them because I didn't want to be reeled into the whole sales pitch and waste all my time over there. You can, again, find better options out there just by doing an internet search. There was a costume section that was on the upper part of that floor back in KL. Most of those I didn't really check out because most photo studios actually include a few suits and dresses within those packages that they give you anyway. I did talk to one rep at the Gown Atelier to try to get some information on their gown rentals and pricing, but she refused to give out any information without us first giving her our phone numbers and email addresses, right? So this lady was like, oh, what's your email address? What's your phone number? Can I get your phone number? Can I get your phone number? I thought Malaysia is all about sharing, right? Share the information lah. I want to share you this useful thing. I want to share with you one weird trick to make your wedding better. I thought it was all about sharing, right? Why are they asking for all this information, right? Why are they refusing to give information to the customer who's asking first? You can give all that information to the customer and then collect their information. If they're interested, they'll sit down and talk to you, right? And from then on, you can kind of move on to that information collecting process. But if they don't even know what you're selling, why should they give you that information? I'm trying to find out if I'm interested in what you have to offer. What do you have to offer? But you can't give me any information whatsoever without me giving you my contact details first. On top of all of that, we know how all Malaysian businesses work, right? They collect all this lovely information and they store it in a database, and goodness knows what happens to all the information. So pretty much we walked away from that place, right? I'm not interested in doing business with a place that refuses to tell me what they're even doing or what they have to offer before collecting a bunch of information from me. And that's pretty much it for the KLPJ Wedding Fair. I'll be happy to answer any questions about wedding setup, wedding processes, hotels, different options, rentals, whatever, photo shoots. Just type them in the comments down below and hopefully you learned something from this video. Thanks a lot.